Um, Good evening, sir, again.
Good evening.
Yes, it's wonderful to be here and to be talking to you. It's an experience I never thought I would have, like, so many others. So just to go into it a little bit, the book is and I'm sure everybody here will ultimately read the book, but could you tell us a little bit about your background? Because that will help us to understand where you're coming from or what is happening.
Okay. First of all, I would like to thank all of you who have come this evening. I would like to thank all the distinguished guests who are here. I would like to thank all the people of Guwahati, the people who did my workshop and are now assisting. And I would like to thank Chinmay for giving this space and allowing this event to happen. Because without all of these people, I wouldn't be able to speak to you all. The next thing is, people really struggle to understand me. People really struggle to understand what I write. People really struggle to get a sense of what truly my work is. Because most of it is outside the vocabulary of the human. Not in terms of the English language vocabulary, but in terms of the experience that humans have in their day-to-day living, or even in their spiritual journey or religious journey. This is one reason that sometimes, okay, I will not go in that direction. You wanted to know about a little bit about my background as to what brought me to this
point. Yes.
To this point. So, being born as a human who was never initiated either into religion or into spirituality by my parents, I was baggage-free to that extent. I did not have any doctrine. They gave me utmost freedom to do whatever I wanted to do, and never really cared about what most parents care about is how much marks you get, what you want to become, where you want to go, where you want to reach. We never had all these conversations. So my existence was a day-to-day living and having fun in that. The only criteria is pass the exam, probably because my father didn't want to pay for that class again. Having come up in that place, you can understand that my mediocrity is the only philosophy I have. In fact, I was below average in most of the things in life. But I had something very unique throughout throughout the time I can remember, as far as my memory goes back. And that uniqueness was I never was confused in life. I had utmost clarity. And I knew exactly why things are the way they are. I don't know how I knew it, but I knew it. And so life brought me into a profession which was about engineering and technology. I adapted to that profession. I made money in that profession. I was prosperous in my own way. I was very good in it. And then one day, a thought came into my mind, a very idle thought, that what is the meaning and purpose of life? If we are here, if humans are here, what truly is the meaning? Is it really about being born, getting educated, making money, getting married, having children, raising them and dying? That is one purpose. The other purpose, they said, is you have to become enlightened. And I saw that really people were not becoming enlightened. They were assuming they became enlightened. Of course, there were certain exceptions which were truly authentic, but most of the other ones I found, no, they were inauthentic. So even that was not there. So it was a fundamental question. What is the meaning and purpose of life? And unfortunately with me is when I have a question, I go so deep that I lose track of time. I lose track of what I'm doing. So my business getting sidelined, and now I'm into a quest. What is this meaning and purpose of life? Did I get an answer? No. Something happened. What happened was a very unusual experience. I was passing by a mosque, and there was the azan that was happening. And this azan hit me hard. And it took me into a transcendental state. I was on a scooter coming back to my home after my work. I still had around 12 kilometers to move or travel through the thick of traffic, but I lost whole consciousness of the traffic. I lost whole consciousness of time, and the awareness came back only when I was parking my scooter. And I'm like, how did I come all this way? How did I navigate through that traffic? But something was there that kept me safe and brought me back to my building. Now this was one transcendental experience. And I thought the experience is meaningless. I mean, it didn't mean anything unless I want to feel that I am so special. And that's one thing I generally never think about, being special. Because the whole mantra of my life is being very ordinary and very simple to the extent that I can. But I started noticing that after that incident, my understanding of life became very profound and deep. And how did that depth show up in my life? The way it showed up was there came a realization of the five levels of responsibility. And this was very profound the way it came. And I'm sharing with you those 5 levels. The first level of responsibility is you are responsible. Now this person is normally the humans in this world. They're always pointing to the others for their own misery, for their own pain, for their own suffering. And they're always saying to their parents, because of you I am like this. They're saying to their spouse, they're saying to their siblings, they're saying to their boss. They assume the others are making their life miserable. So these people are living in that state of you are responsible for what I am going through. But then comes a certain amount of realization. And in that realization, the human starts realizing, no, probably I am also contributing to that. And now this is the second level which says, we are responsible. Not only you, but I am also responsible for creating my own misery, my own pain. And then again, you move to the next stage. The next stage is something very interesting, which says, no, you are not responsible. I am the only one who is responsible. You delivered what you delivered, but I created my misery. You said what you said, but I created my misery. You did what you did, but I created my misery. Life took what it took away from me, but I created my misery. Now I am not blaming anyone. I am the only one who is responsible for the way I am experiencing life. That was the third level of understanding and realization that hit me. And then next, I realized what the next level would be, that nobody is responsible. And this is a place where I realized that even I am not responsible for anything, because I realized that my thoughts I am not thinking, they come from somewhere. I realized that my feelings I am not creating, they are coming from somewhere. I am taking the ownership of them, but I am not creating them. I'm assuming they are mine, but they come and go. Which means that even I'm not creating my misery, I'm not creating my suffering. It is just happening as a part of life, as a flow of life. And there is no one who is taking the responsibility for what is happening, what is showing up in the way I am experiencing myself and the world. So this was the fourth level, that no one is responsible. And then came, and then came the final realization that actually this whole conversation of who is responsible is meaningless. Why? Because the fifth realization was nothing ever happened. It is all a dream. And if it is a dream, when you have a dream in the night, do you wake up from your dream and then start figuring out who was responsible for whatever happened in that dream? You don't do that. And if you don't do that, when you realize this is all a dream, why there is a need to really have a conversation or a thought process of really trying to figure out who is responsible for this dream? Now these 5 levels of responsibility, where the last one was not really a responsibility, truly shattered everything that I held and also brought me into an utter state of clarity. And because of this, this article got published in a magazine called Life Positive, and then scores of people started writing to me. They wanted solution to their spiritual journey, and I started giving them that solution. I didn't know how I was forwarding their life, but they said that what you are telling us is freeing us. And that whole set of letters got collated and published and became my first book, which was then known as Exploring Consciousness Through Unconsciousness. So I was asked the question, how did I come here? So,
yes, interesting and very long journey, very interesting journey at different levels, very many different levels. So I know that this can go on, this aspect of your life can go on, but I would like to actually go about the book, and the ideas are really radical, very radical, and I think it needs a great deal of courage, would you agree, to be able to pen ideas like this and put it out into the world, because some of it goes against received religion, I don't say spirituality. Some of it goes, completely new thoughts are there. So while you were writing this and while you were putting the thoughts in order, your thoughts in order to get this book, were you conscious of the fact that, it was a very courageous thing you were doing to put across such radical ideas? Because when people write, things that are burning questions, burning thoughts, they have an idea. Did you have that idea?
You have no idea of what courage I had to go through.
I can imagine, only imagine.
No, you cannot.
Okay.
And I'll tell you, I'll share with this audience, because I don't know if ever I will be having such an audience in my life. The courage that I had to go through, even Shiva did not have, and even Durga did not have. They came and they took the mantra, but they couldn't do the mantra. Because that against whom this work was going was so ferocious that these two couldn't stand up in front of them. I was the only one standing, a human. Why? Because I had nothing to lose. because I wanted nothing from life. But both of them wanted something. And because of that, they buckled down to the king. You do not know them. I know them. You worship them. I know them. And I know what is their strength and what is their weakness. You worship them because you feel they have great strength. They have strength. They don't have courage. So that's why I said, you have no idea what it took for me to do this work.
No, I obviously don't have any idea of that, but I could guess that it must have taken a lot of courage. But what also permeates this book, I felt, was the sense of compassion. Compassion because, my children, you're constantly saying these words and so on. The compassion for fellow humans that you have, which I think is the basis of, for me, is the basis of all big religions, all true religions. And the sense of equality that permeates the book. These two things struck me greatly when I was reading it, in spite of the fact that the ideas were radical. So in our interaction, we did not dwell on the aspect that struck me most, which was the compassion that you have, which comes through in the book.
I care for humanity. I care for people.
Yes.
And when this work started 8 years ago, when God came to me, I never wanted God to come to me. I never really cared for God. Because why do you care for something which is not accessible? And I knew all those people who talk about God, that's all nonsense. They don't know. That much I knew. But I also knew that I cannot know till God came to me. And when God said to me that you have work to do, I said, what is the work? He said, the work is about taking my children back home. His children were the souls. I said, listen, I don't know your children. I don't know my soul. I don't care for the souls. I am a human. I care for other humans. So if you want me to work with you, you have to give me something which I can give to the humans. And so we made a deal. I worked for whatever he wanted me to work. And I also delivered to the humans who came at that point of time to work with me. Because at that time, the journey was only about having 300 people with me who would be committed to this work. 300 people which took 5 years for me to really have. But I gave them, which will really give them some relief from their pain and suffering. That work now is complete. Now I can come into the world out. And so God has given a very beautiful tool, which is this book.
Yes. We can keep on listening to you. But one of the aspects that struck me greatly about the book were the glances, if I can put it that way, at other religions. Like, Kal coming away from the favor, which for me is part of Christianity. Then, of course, the concept of karma, which you have elaborated so beautifully. I sometimes feel that we are strangled by the wrong concepts we have of karma in our... So, if with your permission, I will end my interaction with you with a reading from the karma, which chapter, which part really, it got to me. So, it's just a couple of pages. All control, domination, and manipulation create karma. All victimhood creates karma. All blame game and not willing to forgive creates karma. From this karmic baggage, using a portion of it, a storyline is scripted. This storyline idea is explained at length earlier. So going through the book, you will get it. Then I will skip a paragraph. And killing animals for food or profit does not create karma. It neither has merit nor sin. Doing violence on humans as a part of duty, self-defense, and from a place of neutrality does not create karma. For karma to happen, there has to be some negativity. If I make a choice and somebody gets hurt or pain because of that, but I did not harm that person, nor made that choice with the intention of harming that person, then that action does not create any karma. Karma can be neutralized by practicing austerity, penance, and voluntary suffering. You will only be able to do that if storyline allows. Karma cannot be neutralized by giving donations. This really spoke to me, this part. Karma cannot be neutralized by giving donations, visiting holy places, worshipping, chanting mantras, or practicing spiritual methods. Gurus and deities cannot neutralize karma.
किताब जो है ये दरअसल एक जरिया है इंसानों को उनके दुख और कष्ट में से थोड़ा सा राहत देने के लिए. It's okay if I speak in Hindi? Okay. क्योंकि हमारे पास ये किताब हिंदी में भी है और इंग्लिश में भी है. हर इंसान वो चाहे सक्सेसफुल हो या चाहे वो फेलियर में हो, वो चाहे बहुत बड़ा बना हो या छोटा बना हो, वो चाहे बहुत पढ़ा लिखा हो या चाहे बहुत अनपढ़ हो, चाहे उसने जिंदगी की ऊंचाइयों को छुआ हो या अभी भी बहुत नीचे गिरा हो, हर इंसान के अंदर एक दुख रहता है और एक कष्ट रहता है. वो इसलिए है क्योंकि इंसान का ये डेस्टिनी है कि उसे दुख और कष्ट में से गुजरना पड़ेगा. और इसलिए परमात्मा का जो संदेश है, जो ये किताब है, ये किताब आपको शायद बौद्धिक तौर पर हजम नहीं होगा. इंटेलेक्चुअली यू मे नॉट बी एबल टू डाइजेस्ट द बुक, लेकिन ज़रूरी भी नहीं है. जब मैंने काम करना शुरू किया था परमात्मा के साथ, मैं बहुत कुछ समझता नहीं था. 5 साल तक मैंने उनको कहा कि मुझे नहीं मालूम कि आप परमात्मा हो या शैतान हो, क्योंकि कोई रास्ता नहीं है मुझे जानने के लिए. लेकिन मैं इंसान के जिंदगी को परखूंगा कि आपके दिए हुए चीजों से उनके जिंदगी में क्या परिवर्तन हो रहा है, और वो मेरा मापदंड होगा ये जानने के लिए कि आप परमात्मा हो या शैतान हो. उसी तरह मैं आपको भी चाहता हूं कि आप भी जो चीज मैं आपको दे रहा हूं वो या तो ये किताब है या फिर ये मंत्र है या फिर किताब के अंदर दिए गए कुछ एक प्रोटोकॉल्स हैं, रिलीजिंग प्रोटोकॉल्स हम बोलते हैं. आप इनको परखिए जैसे मैंने परमात्मा को परखा था. आप उनको टटोलिए जैसे मैंने उनको टटोला था. मैंने उन पर विश्वास नहीं किया था. मेरे अंदर मैं कोई भी चीज पर विश्वास नहीं करता. अविश्वास मेरे अंदर कूट कूट के भरा हुआ है. कोई भी चीज कोई मुझे पेश करता है, मैं इतना ही कहता हूँ इंटरेस्टिंग. इंटरेस्टिंग का मतलब इतना ही होता है, मैंने सुना तुमने जो कहा, मैंने स्वीकार नहीं किया, लेकिन मैंने उसे अस्वीकार भी नहीं किया. इट्स इंटरेस्टिंग. सो मैं भी चाहता हूँ कि आप वहीं पे रहे जहाँ पे आप मेरे दिए किताब को और मेरे हुए दिए गए चीज़ों को सिर्फ इंटरेस्टिंग के तौर पर लीजिए, उसको आजमाएं. मैंने परमात्मा को आजमाया. लोग परमात्मा की पूजा करते हैं, मैंने परमात्मा को आजमाया. आप उनके दिए हुए चीज़ों को भी आजमाइए और फिर देखिए अगर आपके ज़िंदगी में कुछ बदलाव आता है तो आप कंटिन्यू कीजिए. अगर बदलाव नहीं आता है तो इनको छोड़ दीजिए. फ़र्क क्या पड़ेगा? आप 200 रुपया का एक किताब ही खरीद रहे हैं ना, या तो फिर मेरे दिए गए मंत्र को आप बोल रहे हैं, इतना ही फर्क है। तो मैंने 2 शब्द तो कह दिए किताब के बारे में,